What if a plane carrying 239 people just vanished mid-air?
Breaking news tonight, a Malaysia Airlines flight
MH370
Flight MH370
disappeared en route to Beijing.
70, we are ready, requesting flight number 310 to Beijing. Malaysia 370.
No crash site, no distress call, just disappeared into thin air. This isn't fiction. This is the real story of MH370, the world's greatest aviation mystery. It was the early hours of March 8, 2014. At exactly 12:42 a.m., Malaysian Airlines Flight MH370 took off from Kuala Lumpur, heading toward Beijing. On board were 227 passengers, 10 crew members, and 2 experienced pilots. Captain Zaharie Ahmad Shah, 53 years old, one of Malaysia's most senior pilots, and First Officer Farah Ahmed, 27, on his final training flight before full certification. The flight started out normally. At 1:08 a.m., the plane reached 35,000 feet above the South China Sea. Captain Zaharie calmly reported to air traffic control. 11 minutes later, Kuala Lumpur ATC handed the flight over to Vietnam with a final transmission. Malaysian 370, contact Ho Chi Minh, 120.9. Good night, Mas 370, replied Captain Zaharie. These were the last words ever heard from the plane. Just 30 seconds after entering Vietnamese airspace, MH370 disappeared from radar. The time was 1:21 a.m., but shockingly, nobody noticed immediately. Kuala Lumpur thought the plane was now under Vietnam's control. Vietnam, however, couldn't locate the aircraft and tried repeatedly to contact it. For 18 minutes before notifying Kuala Lumpur, MH370 had vanished. Despite aviation protocol requiring notification within 1 hour, no emergency action was taken until 6:32 a.m., 4 hours too late. The world scrambled to find the missing flight. An international search operation was launched. 34 ships and 28 aircraft from 7 countries scoured the South China Sea, the logical crash site. Nothing, not a trace, was found.
Flight MH370 ended in the southern Indian Ocean.
Then, a twist. On March 12, 4 days after the disappearance, it was revealed military radar had tracked the plane after it vanished from civilian radar. At 2:22 a.m., MH370 was detected, not over the South China Sea, but west of Malaysia, near the Strait of Malacca, heading toward the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. A complete U-turn, heading away from Beijing. What was happening? Then came the strangest clue of all, satellite handshakes. MH370 had attempted to communicate with satellites 7 times after vanishing. These pings didn't give an exact location but allowed investigators to draw 7 arcs, possible positions of the aircraft during each handshake. The last ping, at 8:19 a.m., pointed to a remote stretch of ocean, 2,000 kilometers west of Australia. They called it the 7th arc. A zone so vast, remote, and unexplored, it swallowed the aircraft whole. Search teams focused on the 7th arc. It became the most extensive and expensive search in aviation history, costing $160 million. After 3 years, they found nothing. The search was declared a failure. But in 2015, hope resurfaced. A part of the plane's wing called a flaperon washed up on the shore of Réunion Island off Madagascar. MH370 was confirmed to have crashed. The world wanted answers. How could this happen? 3 main theories emerged. Pilot suicide. Captain Zaharie made a mysterious U-turn. Flew the plane along radar-blind zones. Even had a flight simulator at home, where he'd simulated a similar route weeks before. But he had no history of mental health issues. No financial problems. No motive, and no proof. Hijacking. 2 Iranian passengers were on board with stolen passports, but investigations found they were likely just migrants, trying to reach Europe, not terrorists. Hypoxia theory, the most probable. Cabin pressure dropped. Everyone on board passed out, including the pilots. The plane flew on autopilot for hours, until it ran out of fuel and plunged into the ocean. But years passed, and no answers came, until possibly now. In 2022, retired aerospace engineer Richard Godfrey claimed to have cracked the case. Using a radio wave tracking technology WSPR-net combined with satellite and ocean data, he pinpointed a location on the 7th arc, 4 kilometers under the ocean. This exact spot, Godfrey believes, is where MH370 lies. His calculations are so precise, he's identified a 40 nautical mile radius for a new search. Even drift analysis, tracking how ocean currents carried the recovered debris, supports his theory. Could this finally be it? Over 27 pieces of MH370 have been found across islands. And if Richard's right, a new search operation could finally bring closure to a tragedy that has haunted the world for over a decade. Will we ever know what truly happened on that fateful night? Let us know what you think in the comments. Subscribe for more real-life mysteries that challenge everything we think we know.